My name's Carole Ashby, and I want to share with you my emotional journey of self-discovery. It started with finding an old ring, an imaginary friend, a dash to hospital, and a trip deep into the past. I have to say, my life's been quite an adventure. I was lucky enough to be chosen as a Bond Girl twice. Once a Bond Girl, always a Bond Girl. But blink and you'll miss me. But the story really begins this summer. I was moving home in between places when a friend kindly offered me her houseboat. But thank goodness my lovely goddaughter Sabrina has come to help.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Isn't this fabulous?
It's so beautiful.
All right, darling, can you help me with this last one? That's it. Welcome to the boat.
Oh my God, this is
fabulous?
beautiful.
It's got great views over Albert Bridge, especially at night. God, what a morning. I have to move on the hottest day of the year.
Oh, so typical.
Thanks, sweetheart. Anyway, last knockings.
Can I look at your photos?
So that's Mary, Miss World, Mary Stavin. Roger, of course, lovely Roger, and that's me. And that's taking time off at Pinewood when we were doing View to a Kill. What else is in there?
You and Renee.
Hello. Louise of the Communist Resistance with Renee. Yeah, it was fun times. Oh, God, I'm so hot.
Who's this?
That's Gillian.
Who's Gillian?
When I was a little girl, I had a friend. Well, some would say imaginary friend, some, may say that it was
Did
a
you
little
actually
visit.
see her?
Yeah. That's what she looked like. And she came to me very young and would come on trips and sit at the tables with us. And even my parents, when we go on journeys up north to go and see Grandma and Great Aunt, we'd have to stop the car because Gillian wasn't in the car. So, so Gillian was a big part of my life until I was about 12. No, it was actually no less, about 9. And then I went away to school and Gillian wasn't there anymore. Yeah. So I was a lonely, only little child, no family as such.
Oh, you're my family.
Oh, no, I know you are. You're my chosen family. I meant like blood family as such, I'm the last of the Mohicans kind of thing. Well, Gillian and I don't know, whoever she is. That's actually, that's been missing for a while. That was in another jewellery box. I'm not sure whether it belongs to my great-grandfather, Horace Tate, or my great-grandmother. I can't read the monogram. It's got a T on it anyway, so it's a Tate.
Where were they from?
From Yorkshire. They're from Dor, the little village where they were brought up in, and that's all I really know about them. I'm actually beyond tired. I think moving is the most exhausting thing in the world.
You just never stop.
No, I will. I'll take some time off, but we'll see. What on earth has happened is I'm in hospital. I was brought in last night and with terrible stomach pains, and I thought it was appendicitis, and to cut a long story short, we had a scan and it's not. The bottom line is I've been flat out all my life really, but certainly in the last 2 weeks. It's really funny because my doctor, who has been brilliant, Annie, she came in here with me last night and this morning brought me these books, and she knows did really well. And, the first one is the things that you can only see when you slow down. Well, she knows me. So I'm going to sit and have a little read and just reflect on life and think, what's it all about? Alfie. I spent the last week really in the Yellow Box Company, moving stuff and putting stuff into storage, and I think, it's funny, you see things, you see your life in front of you and behind you, it's all the memories as well. And you think, where am I going? Where am I from? What am I doing? But anyway, time to reflect, I think.
So I'm out of hospital, and it's good to know I'll live another day. I'm heading north to the village of my ancestors, taking time out to find out a little about them. So I'm going to meet some interesting people that might have the answers to my questions. I know so little about my great-grandmother Emily Frith, but have such fond memories of my grandmother Hilda Tate, and of course my mother Cynthia Rogers, and me, a lonely little girl with an imaginary friend. So I've arrived in Dor, on the edge of the beautiful Peak District and the city of Sheffield. But first, I'm heading to the Dor Stone for a history lesson with Dr. Roger Doonan from the Department of Archaeology at Sheffield University.
you?
Well, as you know, my family, I come from here, my ancestors, and I'd like to know about the history, the archaeology, and you're the man to talk to, I'm told.
Well, it's a really good question. It's a beautiful little village on the outskirts of Sheffield, actually within Sheffield City itself. Not many people think about it really, but the clue is in the name, door. So what we've got here is the door stone. Dating standing stones is normally quite problematic, but in this case, it's actually very easy because we know from historical records this was raised in the 1960s.
It'd be ridiculous.
So it's about the same age as me since it was put up, and it was put up by the Door Historical Society, the village group, to really try and put Door on the map, and rightfully so, because the events which unfolded around here really are of national importance.
Well, the huge battles were fought here. Would you want to tell us a little bit about that, the history of this area?
Well, there was certainly a coming together of two significant forces, but the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle doesn't suggest there were actually battles. What we think happened was that somewhere around here, people say King's Croft, actually within Door itself, that King of Wessex, Egbert, arrived here with an army, where he met Eanred, the King of Northumbria, and at that point Eanred submits to Egbert, and in doing so Wessex, Mercia and Northumbria are brought under the control of Egbert himself. So in many ways you could argue that he becomes the first king of what is later recognised as England.
Quite complicated, so it's a bit like Game of Thrones, isn't it?
But what's really important is, why did Egbert come to Door? Why did Eanred know to meet him here? And it suggests this point in the landscape is really significant. In other words, it was the gateway between the north and the south.
So before I head off with Roger, I'm going to meet Janet Riddler, the Door archivist, to tell me about my family that I know absolutely nothing about.
Well, you've got to be Janet. You have to be Janet.
I am indeed, Carole.
Hi. Yeah,
I'm
hello.
so
Lovely
pleased
to meet you. Well, I'm down to find out what you found out.
Oh, well, you're in Door, the home of your ancestors. There are lots of surprises for you now.
Golly.
So
Okay.
come this way. We're going to look now to see what your Door connection is.
Yeah.
Right. So we're in Door, which is now a part of Sheffield, but has a history that dates back to Anglo-Saxon times. And in fact, up till 1934, it was part of Derbyshire. So we can look a little bit at the background of that, but what we're going to look at in terms of your family is the sort of late Victorian period, because that is when Horace Tate came to Door.
Right, he wasn't from here originally.
He
then?
wasn't
Okay.
from here originally. He came from East Yorkshire, Hatfield, I think, near
Oh, really?
Doncaster.
Oh, okay.
So he came to Door and he lodged with a family by the name of Frith.
Which is my grandmother. Great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother, that's right. So he was lodging with the Frith family.
Yes.
And he had come to Door in his work capacity. Now, I've sort of alluded to the changes that happened in Door, and after the Industrial Revolution,
Right.
and the coming of the railway to Door. So with that, of course, came openings for people like your great-grandfather, who was a coachman. Of course, there was a horse and carriage service that took people from Door Station into Door, and a lot of the rich people had coaches. So,
Right. So he was lodging with the Friths.
so here we see him in 1901.
Yes.
He's boarding with the Frith family, and it tells us that he's a coachman. So that's how that's how we know what's what. However, at the address that they were staying at, Chapel Street, which is just a stone's throw from here, very, very close to where we're sitting now.
My goodness. Oh my God.
However, Emily doesn't appear on that register. Now you think, well,
Hold
Emily's
on.
a daughter.
Yeah.
Where is Emily? Emily is actually down the road working as a housemaid.
Oh, it's very upstairs and downstairs.
Very
isn't it?
upstairs, downstairs. She's working as a housemaid for a rather imposing gentleman whose portrait is actually behind me now on this wall. If
Oh
you
my
can-
God.
Right.
Yeah.
This chap here,
Who's he?
he is Ebenezer Hall. That's his
Ebenezer
name.
Hall, what a wonderful name. It's
a
like
fact-
Dickensian,
You
isn't
couldn't
it?
make a name
No,
like
you
that
couldn't.
up, could you really? He was a partner in a firm of silversmiths,
Oh,
and he
right.
had, made his way to wealth and bought
Had a
land.
big house
Had a
and-
big house. But
Okay.
at some point, though, obviously their paths did cross.
Right.
We're facing the entrance to the archives. The door's open because it's so hot, and if
Right.
you look across, you will see
There's the
church. That is Door Parish Church, Christ Church Door, as it's also referred to here, and that is where they got married. But they married in February 1903.
Yes.
And they were blessed with a child in August.
Oh, well, I can do my maths a little bit on that one. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Well, I think they had to, didn't they, really?
So,
little devils.
Little devils,
You know,
indeed.
It's all going on indoor.
So the physical separation of one being at one place.
Well, they
not
managed
the
to get
others,
around it,
They
didn't
managed
they?
to get around it. And following on fairly rapidly the next year
Hilda.
comes Hilda.
Yeah.
Hilda and Dorothy are both at school,
Right. Now, where did they go to school?
this very building.
Oh,
This
how funny.
is the
Oh, my
old
God.
school.
Is it really?
Yeah. This was the school indoor at the time that your
It's really weird, actually, as
grandmother
well.
and her
Moment here.
sister were going to school. You will find Frith graves in this churchyard, yes, right next door to the school.
So where, I think there's one round here, somebody said. I don't know.
I think there might be just, if we go past this bush here,
Yeah, look at this, yes.
Oh, there
Edith
you go.
Frith. Edith Frith.
another one of them.
How strange, isn't it? So going back to your roots again here. So it was a big family then, Frith?
Yeah, a very
Really?
significant family, one of the main sort of names indoor, sort of museum of the dead.
Museum of the Dead, I like that expression.
It's quite a fascinating place.
Frith,
But yeah,
yeah.
you'll find well,
Frederick
you'll
Frith.
find a few further.
Frederick
Here's another
Frith.
one. Here's Frederick Frith.
So now I've uncovered the mystery of my family, Roger's invited me to a history lesson. He's just been on a dig, and there's someone there he'd like me to meet.
What we've got here is a prehistoric enclosure, and this has been just discovered this year. A couple of years ago, we were field walking. The local group and Archaeological Research Services noticed that there was an uncanny amount of flint being found in this field, which suggested something peculiar was going on. And recent aerial photography indicated that in this field there is a large ditched enclosure. Now, we didn't know what date that was, but looking at the flints and looking at the form, it seems to be, suggests it's probably Bronze Age, could be earlier, Neolithic, sort of late Stone Age if you want, but it adds to that whole story of Dor and the wider landscape.
And back to what you
It
said.
reinforces that this idea is part of the landscape which is in between worlds. You know, just across here at the Lym Valley, you know, a sort of 2-minute walk that way, we have the traditional boundary between Derbyshire and Yorkshire. That boundary was probably in existence at least by the 9th century, because we know that the Treaty of Dor tells us about King Egbert from Wessex coming up, having sort of marched over the Mercians to meet Eanred from Northumbria. And it's in this location that that treaty would have been agreed. Now, we often think about that as Dor village, but to my mind, on this high ground, look at the wonderful perspective we've got, the whole of South Yorkshire sort of beyond us there. What better place could you actually be wishing to meet to survey the lands which are suddenly coming under your control? So, Carole, we're now at this other trench here, and this was a particularly interesting trench because we placed this here to try and see what happened to the enclosure ditch. Basically, we wanted to know whether was it a round enclosure or was it some other shape. And just here, what we found was that the ditch turned in very sharply, forming a sort of D-shaped enclosure. And you can see the excavations as they were actually unfolding here.
Oh, that's amazing. Look
So
at that.
this D shape suggests, you know, it's certainly prehistoric, possibly Bronze Age. I'd like you to meet somebody I've been working with. He's a professional in his own field, and he's got a very different approach to the past and to, very different to my own empirical
Right.
approach based on physical evidence and material
Oh,
evidence.
good.
So I'd like
Another angle.
I'd like you to meet Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hello, hi.
Carole.
Carole, yes, Paul. How you do? Hi.
Well, what's your story?
Okay. Well, completely different way because I'm a professional psychic. So from my perspective, this was about energy and using psychometry and just scanning areas using energy as such.
Will you explain what psychometry is?
Everything's got a vibration, everything's got an energy. We're all atoms and vibrating at different speeds and tensions and signals. And as such, these are all very individualistic. Now, objects are the same. Rocks, trees, everything, it might be a slower vibration, but it's still a vibration. And you can connect to those you can measure those, and you can read things that's stored in there.
Can I just ask you something? You know, do you use dowsing for this as well sometimes?
We've actually got some dowsing rods here you
Right.
can have a go with. I know from Roger's perspective, some of the students there last time were using these as a sort of an experiment to see, and they were getting
good results?
Well, they were getting comparable results with the different people using the same techniques. Myself, dowsing, I do that with my own energy field rather than actually using the object. If you imagine that they're like an antenna, and essentially what you're doing is projecting out, and it's like creating then a signal out and a signal in through those dowsing rods, and they become sensitized, and then they work with your system and cross over where you need to cross over, yeah?
So we're going to see if I can find the boundary with my rods.
Don't think, don't force it, it's not physical, it's energetic.
Right.
So you need a nice loose grip,
Right.
but you need to be able to put your wrists slightly up so that they are sort of near horizontal.
Right, oh right,
That's
okay.
it, really relax, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Imagine these are, okay, they're foreign bodies, but they're part of your energy
Right,
field,
yes,
okay?
yes.
If you can breathe into your energy centre, don't think, get out of your attic into your heart there, into your energy centre, okay? And then if you can, in your own time, you're going to just walk along without any thought
Okay.
and just let those do what they need to do, okay?
Yeah.
So in your own time, just move forward. And keep walking, ignore that, keep going, keep going, keep going. See if it might straighten out. Yes, it's turning around and straightening.
What does that mean?
Well, it's going back on itself.
Oh my lord, okay.
doing a double
How bizarre,
somersault.
this is weird.
There you go. Okay, and forward again. Well, that's where you were, kind of where you were before.
Yeah.
But keep going. See if
It's
it
going
changes.
back on me.
Don't matter. Like, keep doing this thing.
Let's go back again.
I-
That is weird.
I-
I didn't think anything would happen. I'll be really honest.
Well, that was really good.
That's amazing. Is it? So, what do you?
Well, there's a long tradition of archaeologists using dowsing. We won't claim that we know how it works, but today in the 21st century we find water companies often using dowsing rods
Really?
rather than expensive geophysics.
So it doesn't go
and,
against the
uh,
grain for you then, coming from a different
it's
angle.
certainly not, you know, within the sort of empirical baggage
You're an
of what we
open-minded,
do.
yeah.
Well, it seems to work. Why it
Yeah.
works, I've got no idea.
Witchy.
So that was interesting.
Oh, that was the most bizarre thing I've ever done, I think. I didn't expect anything. Look, can I talk to you further? Can I come and see you tomorrow? Because I've actually got also, well, I didn't want to talk to you anyway, but I've got something I want to get your reaction on. It's an object I've found. It's,
Okay, well, we'll see.
We won't go any further.
Okay, I
Okay.
don't know anymore. So
We're on.
to my office tomorrow morning.
Lovely, that's great.
In centre.
Well, I have no actually blood relatives alive as such, you know, or sort of, you know, family. We like to put pieces of the jigsaw together, don't we, to find out where we're from. It's like a homing salmon almost, you know, back to where it began. That dowsing, I mean, completely freaked me out because I didn't really honestly expect anything to happen. I thought I've seen all this kind of stuff before. It's never going to happen, and I was doing nothing, and not even thinking about anything. The tables just given away. Yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a great day, actually. So, enough of the history and more of the mystery. Let's go and find out who this ring really belongs to. There's a reason kind of why all of this started.
Oh, right.
Is that when I was packing to move and clearing out boxes and little jewellery boxes, I found this ring that belonged to, can I say? Just have a look. Remember the family.
Okay, so again, left hand receiving hand. Okay, an object, right, so if we're talking psychometry. So you know we talked about that yesterday. Right, okay, I've got a very agitated lady with this.
Oh my.
She's jumping up and down. So I need to do this. Well, I don't know whether this is a representation of her, because there's memories in this.
Yes.
And whether this is a memory with this lady or whether this is the real person.
Right.
So clearly this person passed. Okay, so there's a lady with me now. So there's a lady sat inside me. Yeah, okay. So she's actually just like an arrow going that way behind you into the past.
Yeah.
So she's showing me where she passed or when she passed. And this is quite a while ago. I'm looking at, 25. I'm looking about 25 years ago, something like this. Right. This isn't an accident passing, this is a health passing.
Yes.
Because she just literally falls to her knees, basically, and she's doing this and falls to her knees. She's being very theatrical about how she passed, okay, to demonstrate to the stupid person here to get it, okay? Facts. This is a lady that is a very emotionally connected to you. From my point of view, I've got a mother connection to this.
She's here now, is she?
Yeah, because she stood behind you now.
Right.
So she stood behind you now, okay?
Okay. Can I say happy birthday for tomorrow for her?
Okay.
I've just realised.
It's quite all right.
Well, that was very emotional, and I'm so glad to be seeing Roger, who's taking me back to the past and to Mother Earth. What a beautiful area. I love this.
It is a stunning area. It's a beautiful landscape, fantastic views as well. But let's wander up here, because there's something I think you
Well,
might be...
yeah, there's an amazing stone with the stone
You can
circle.
see the stone, but there is something, yeah, I think you might be interested
Yeah.
in this. I mean, this is one of many in the area. And
what's this one called?
this is called Barbrook 1 to be precise, and it may not be as impressive as Stonehenge, but what is special about the area is there's many, many of them. So what we lack in size, we make up for in number.
That's marvellous.
In many ways.
To ask you something, Roger. What are these almost that little offering, little shell here?
It's,
Look at this.
I'm glad they're here.
Really? That's strange.
I thought they might be when we turned up. There's a lot of modern day offerings to say thank you for something, or just to sort of
wish for something,
to wish
maybe.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're well used to the idea of throwing metal into wet places,
yes.
into
Wishing
wells
wells
and to rivers.
Tribute fountain.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and, you
yeah.
know, and again, by the late Bronze Age, this is a very common practice. We've got everything here from
Coins.
coin, sort of
Little shell here.
European, British
But
jewellery,
is it kind of like a
beads.
little altar or something? A little
Well, I
offering
think
altar.
that,
That's how I see it anyway.
That's the way people have decided to use it. They've found meaning in it, and
Yeah.
that's how they're using it. Yeah.
Is this significant to this type of setup like it is in Stonehenge?
You mean, does it have astronomical and
Yes,
celestial
or
alignments?
It's a significance.
It's a very good question. I mean, the thing about stone circles is we don't know. The truth is we don't really know, but we have lots of different ideas.
Right.
Many people have emphasised the astronomical alignments. Stonehenge being a very famous example where it does indeed align on midsummer sunrise.
But does this line up anyway?
For this actual circle, to be honest with you, I don't know. Most of us go to places where there are numbers of stone alignments and stones standing upright. We call them today graveyards.
Are you
I believe.
telling me now that this is a burial ground?
I think
Would
it's
you
what
think?
I think the best way to think about stone circles is that they are multifunctional in many ways. If you
Right.
think of graveyards where you have the church, it's not just about
No.
a place
Could
for
be
the
the
dead.
rituals of the seasons.
It's where people get
and-
married,
yes,
it's
yeah,
harvest
okay.
festivals,
Yeah.
it's just going there collectively as a community every Sunday, for instance. So in many ways, stone circles could be quite similar. The thing you'll notice is it's defined in area, what is it, about 13 metres or so in diameter. It will allow some people to be on the inside, and if it was a big group, some people on the outside.
Yeah.
So that's one way of differentiating some people from others. So you're starting
right.
perhaps to see this
hierarchy
idea
and then-
of hierarchy,
right.
maybe. People get, when do these come into use? Well, we see them really from the late Neolithic
Right.
and through much of the Bronze Age, really to the Middle Bronze Age, about 1000 BC. So they're in use, let's say, for a millennium and a half.
Wow, if stones could talk, eh? I think I'm beginning to understand the history and the people of the area. But there's one mystery of mine to be unravelled. Scientists may dismiss my imaginary friend Gillian as a trick of the mind, but to me, she was as real as you or I. So maybe unorthodox questions need unorthodox answers. So Paul, it's a big question. How do you do it? I mean, do you see or feel guides around you, or do you have the same guide all the time? How does it work?
My guides, yes, I do work with a multitude of guides.
Right. Do you see them, Paul, or you just
Yeah.
feel them, or you hear the voices, or
No, you don't hear voices, they communicate. So they communicate non-verbally, either as metaphors or just like I see images of pictures, I'll see images of words. But my guides themselves, from me, a lot of them are to do with my past lives. Have you got any questions?
Yes, I certainly have.
Good.
But this is the timeline of when I was a very, very young baby to the age of 9.
Right.
I lived with my parents, and I was the only child.
Right.
And I had a friend called Gillian, who I could see, but nobody else could.
Yeah.
Now, is that in my little imagination? I was a lonely little girl on my own. And I saw Gillian, and I can describe her to you if you want me to describe her.
No, not yet, no.
Okay, was she a little spirit child, or was she an imagination child? And I also had lots of activity and things happening around me
which my parents also experienced because it was me that was making it happen. We got somebody in to talk about it.
So let's just plug in. Have you got the name of the house or and the street there, please? The number of the...
Yes, 154 Dartmouth Avenue.
So there's spiritual activity in the bedroom at the back.
Yes.
Right? So the bedroom at the back,
Yeah.
right in the corner of the wall, there's like a bit of a portal-y type feeling there, but it's quite a weak one, but it's
That was
there.
my bedroom.
Yeah, okay, that's your bedroom. Well, that explains a lot. You'd feel that in your sleep.
Oh, God.
That's open to other things coming in.
Yes,
okay,
I know.
That's fine. And then also at the ceiling level in the lounge itself, there's this constant at ceiling level, about that far down from ceiling, it's almost like a river's going up and down it. It's like constant emotional, spiritual traffic.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
that is almost like a little road, an A road. Now I can't corroborate this, obviously, but I can feel it, I can see it, so I'm just going to say it. Nothing's ever neat, but here we go. First of all, the portal wasn't connected to her.
Right.
The portal was an extra thing that would have affected you as a child,
Yes.
especially in your sleep state, because that's when you're in your room.
Yes.
You have lots of sleep stuff going off.
Dreadful.
I get a massive rush of goosebumps. So a girl who died.
I'm just going, I'm completely gone now.
So that's a girl in spirit. It isn't an imaginary friend. It's a little girl that can see you, knew you were sensitive, knew you were being kept on the edge of sensitivity because of the portal, and therefore she knows she could be seen by you.
Yes.
And that's why she plugs in. And that goes all the way through to Greenwich.
Today's been really quite an emotional roller coaster. The reading with Paul, really got to me really. Normally I can control my emotions, but they mentioned, my mother, and he was so precise on dates and times and changes in my life, and it knocked me for six a little bit actually. The revelation of Gillian, which has been in my life, the thoughts and where she came from, what was she all about. I was really quite taken aback and pleased to hear about that Paul could pick her up and know where she came from, and got my bedroom, which was unbelievable, where it was all happening. And then said, "Oh yes, Gillian," but she was for real. She wasn't in your imagination. She came from Greenwich. I just feel there's a whole big shift and change at the moment, without sounding too dramatic. And this has been a really, I've been quite ill in hospital just for a week, with stress and stomach things, whatever. And it's kind of made me reflect on things. And then coming here, and I'm being very calm here, I feel very calm here. It's a rebirth, it's a new beginning. I hope I'm right. It's a blood moon. I'm feeling quite emotional. And something Paul said about past lives stirred up memories of my father. He was an academic, an engineer, and a hypnotist who did past life regressions. So I'm going to see Shona Naylor, a local hypnotherapist, who's going to take me on the final stage of my quest into forgotten past lives.
So hypnosis is a technique really that helps people to relax and go from a beta brainwave, which is what we have all the time, just like when we're talking now, to a theta brainwave, which is a little bit like what you may get in meditation and things like that. Just helps people to kind of relax, and also suggestions become much more acceptable when you're in that state of mind.
What about the time regression, when you can take people back in time in their lives or even in past lives?
Yeah, well, time regression is something that we use in hypnotherapy and hypnosis to take people back to get to the subconscious heart of the matter. So for instance, we could take someone back to childhood and get rid of something that might be holding them back in this life. But the interesting thing is, we've started to realise we can take it back further than that safely and discover new details that we never thought possible before.
Do you think that we could go back, it could be genetics, and if we're going back into our genetic ancestry and picking up their lives?
We don't know that much about the way that memory works, but we do know that people can come out with these very accurate uncanny details. But I'm a bit of a believer that also we can tap into some of the power of our ancestors, and a little bit like a radio, how you might
Like tuning in,
that's
getting
it,
radio wave tuning, yeah.
And some people say that they can do this really, really well, and they can channel, their great grandmas who were maybe protesting for the rights and things like that. So I think that's quite fascinating. So all I want you to do is make yourself nice and comfortable, Carole, okay? I'm just going to take you down into trance now, and then we're going to go back and find out who you were.
Oh my lord, okay.
So if you'd like to close your eyes, take a nice long deep breath and just breathe out any tension. And you're here to find out more about your past life, are you not? And there'll be plenty of time to remember. It can be easy, no need to check anything, your clock, your watch. How easy it is to relax it. So relax even deeper now, and you can, won't you? I'm going to ask you, Carole, to use your imagination a little so that we can make sure that the picture screen in your mind is working. I notice your breathing's become a little bit heavier, Carole, there. Do you want to tell me a little bit about how you're feeling right now? Can you tell me what you experienced there, Carole?
It's my father's eyes and purple light. A lot of purple light. I don't know. He died without me being there, and I'm just very sad about that. He was on his own.
Okay.
So just seeing, I don't know, just seeing his eyes.
Just seeing his eyes.
Yeah, eyes, and I'm all right. I'm calming down now. It's just a bit of a shock.
Just give yourself a moment. You're doing really well. I want you to imagine lifting up higher and higher now. And everything you've just experienced is dropping away down below. It's getting smaller and smaller into the distance. And you're feeling an increasing wave of peace and comfort. I'd like you to picture that you stood by a little jetty. There's this gorgeous little boat. Would it be all right to ask you to step onto that boat now?
Yes.
As it travels from that bank, which represents where you are in your present life, Carole, it takes you back through time, which is where in a little while you'll be stepping off the boat and into another lifetime chosen by your unconscious mind. And as I count from 3 down to 1, imagine you're getting closer and closer to the far bank of that time, until on number 1 you can step out of the boat and into a past life. 3, 2, and 1. Are you inside or outside?
Outside.
Outside.
Back on the island.
Back on the island.
On an island.
On an island, lovely, thank you.
There's fishermen's.
With the fishermen?
There's fishermen there, and the boat comes in. I live up the hill.
You live up the hill,
Yeah.
there, that's right.
Up the hill.
And can you see a sign of the place, what this place is called?
Stones. There's stone everywhere. There's stone buildings.
Can you look down at your feet for me? Are you wearing anything on your feet or are they bare?
They're the bare. I just like walking in bare feet.
You prefer that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And can you look at your clothing and just rub it between your fingers for me and tell me
It's
what you're wearing? What that
a
feels
dress, and it's sort of a little tie around it, and it's well, it's a bit dirty actually.
like. Is it?
Yeah.
Does it need a clean?
Yeah.
How old are you? You get a feel for that.
16.
16, that's right. Good. And just hold your hands out in front of you and look at the colour of your skin. What colour is it?
Well, it's olivey colour.
An olivey colour.
Yeah.
And are you a boy or a girl?
I'm a girl.
You're a girl. Hence the dress, I guess. What's your name?
Athena.
Athena. Athena.
Yeah. Having as a festival.
And what takes place at that festival?
Eating, drinking, and dancing around, being silly, really.
Wow, it sounds really good fun.
Mm.
Is there anyone you're hoping to see at the festival?
Some few. Parents watching me.
Your parents are watching you. Your parents live in the same place as you?
In the same house.
I'd like you now to fast forward through this life and move to the time of your death in that lifetime.
I hit my head on a boat.
You hit your head on a boat. How old were you when you passed over?
About 20.
20. And I'm just going to go quiet now and let the boat bring you back into this life. Back with a feeling of well-being. Eyes opening when you're ready. Just take your time.
How are you doing? Alright.
Oh, Lordy me.
Just give yourself a moment to let that
bizarre.
emotion go.
Oh dear. Bizarre.
What do you think the relevance was from your unconscious bringing that up for you here today?
I think it's because I think I need to be in a safe, kind place, and with kind, go back to the real deal and the real things in life that are important. I think we've completely lost it in this world that we live in. So without sounding, and I think it's just going back to the basics and the real meaning of what it's all about, and the kindness of the people and whatever. I think that's what I think we're all kind of missing, without sounding too woo, you know. But I really do. I think it's going back to a nice, safe place, and that's earthy and real. My odyssey to Dore and the Peak District has been a learning curve, for I've discovered so much, not just about my own strange history, but about the people and the area. It feels as though this break has been one long journey back through time, back into a deep and ancient landscape where the earth still speaks and people are kind. Somehow I feel wiser and more grounded.